What if the most beautiful part of your garden wasn't something you bought, but something you rescued? Today, we're stepping into a world where old mop buckets become tomato planters, rusty wheelbarrows bloom with lavender, and kitchen colanders grow dinner. This isn't just gardening, it's storytelling. Welcome to Arkan Aesthetic Studio, where we turn forgotten objects into green, growing inspiration. And yes, every design you'll see in this video was inspired by a real comment from one of you. In this episode of the Creative Recycled Garden Showcase, we're walking through 7 beautiful ideas, each one crafted from everyday items and overflowing with soul. You'll find timestamps below, so feel free to jump to the part that speaks to your heart, or watch it all the way through for the full journey. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which design speaks to you the most? Where are you watching from? Or maybe, what would you turn into a planter? Your ideas might just become part of the next showcase. Maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind this content, there's a real story and a real family. This isn't just a video. It's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it truly matters. When you hit that subscribe button, you're not just helping a creator grow. You're helping a dream stay alive. You're giving a small family hope, one click at a time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing me. One, painted rocks as garden markers. There's something quiet and magical about a garden that tells its story not just through flowers, but through the little details placed gently in its soil. In this humble patch of earth, sunlight spills across the ground like a warm blanket. The herbs, basil, rosemary, lavender, stand tall, vibrant, and full of purpose. But what truly draws the eye are the painted stones nestled at their feet. Not just markers, memories made visible. Each rock is hand-painted, not only with the names of the plants they guard, but with joy itself. Sunflowers beam in shades of gold. Ladybugs sit content among the leaves, their red and black coats bright against the earth. Someone took the time to make these, patiently, intentionally. Maybe it was a quiet afternoon project with a child, or a moment of personal expression after a long week. What matters is that it's real, and it works. Using painted rocks as garden markers is more than a charming touch, it's practical. Unlike wooden signs that weather and fade, or plastic stakes that crack in the sun, these stones endure. They're weighty, grounded. They stay where you place them. They welcome the seasons without protest. The colors help identify herbs at a glance, even from across the garden bed. And for those who struggle with tiny tags or messy handwriting, the clarity is refreshing. You can even tailor them to your aesthetic, elegant, playful, rustic. The canvas is yours. What I love most about this idea is how it encourages connection. It invites us to slow down, to create with our hands, to see reuse not as a compromise, but as a gift. These rocks could have sat, unnoticed, at the edge of a driveway. Now they live with purpose, with beauty, with meaning. So if you're thinking of labeling your plants, consider skipping the store-bought and picking up a few stones instead. Let your creativity join your garden. Let it grow alongside the basil. Let it bloom with the lavender. Because in a world full of quick solutions, this is something that lasts. 2. Clawfoot bathtub planter. Sometimes, the most unexpected objects carry the most beautiful stories. At first glance, it's just an old clawfoot bathtub. The kind that might have once sat quietly in a farmhouse bathroom, its porcelain weathered by years of use. But here, placed on a bed of earth, surrounded by green grass and dappled sunlight, it's been given an entirely new life. No longer a place for bathing, this tub now overflows with color and fragrance. Petunias lean outward in soft purples and whites. Marigolds and snapdragons burst in waves of orange, yellow, and red. Together, they create a scene that feels both nostalgic and joyfully alive. It's easy to assume a garden must begin with store-bought pots or carefully measured raised beds. But repurposing something like a bathtub opens the door to creativity, while also saving materials from the landfill. The porcelain holds moisture better than many modern containers, and its depth allows roots to stretch comfortably, especially for larger flowering varieties. Drainage is important, of course. If you're planning to recreate something like this, make sure to drill a few holes in the bottom of the tub or layer with gravel before adding soil. That helps avoid waterlogging, especially in rainy seasons. And look around the edges of the scene. The garden tools are not arranged for a photo. They've clearly been used. The hose is curled nearby, pots waiting patiently to be filled. It's a space that's lived in, worked in, loved. There's a quiet peace here, a sense that the gardener didn't rush, that each flower was planted not out of obligation, but from joy, and in doing so, turned something discarded into something extraordinary. This is what a creative garden can be. Not perfect, not pristine, but full of heart and full of life. 3. Wheeled mop bucket planter. At first glance, it's just a mop bucket, bright yellow, utilitarian, and oddly out of place on a garden patio. But look a little closer, and you'll see something far more meaningful taking root. Nestled inside, dark soil rises to the brim, cradling a young tomato plant stretching toward the light. A slender wooden stake stands upright beside it, offering support as it begins its slow, upward journey. What was once designed for cleaning floors has now become a vessel for life. That's the magic of creative gardening. It doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for intention. Repurposing something as industrial as a mop bucket might seem odd at first, but it's incredibly practical. The plastic is durable and deep enough to support vegetables with larger root systems. The wheels? A blessing. They allow you to chase the sun across your patio or roll your plant into shelter when the rain begins to fall. It's flexibility disguised as simplicity. If you're considering doing the same, think about drainage. Drilling a few small holes at the base will make all the difference for root health. Or layer some gravel and sand beneath the soil to keep water from pooling. It's a small effort with lasting impact. The tools nearby, hand trowels, a watering can, tell the story of a gardener who cares, but doesn't rush. Someone who sees potential where others might see trash. Someone who believes beauty isn't bought, it's built, piece by piece, with patience and vision. This isn't about following a trend. It's about reimagining what's already around you, about honoring the space you have, however big or small, and turning it into something that gives back. A mop bucket may not belong in a traditional garden, but in a garden like this, where creativity blooms alongside tomatoes, it fits perfectly. 4. Wheelbarrow flower garden. There's something quietly poetic about old things finding new purpose, especially when they become part of something that grows. This weathered wheelbarrow, rusted through time and use, now holds life instead of labor. Tucked against a wooden fence, it leans gently on its side, not broken, but intentionally tilted, giving trailing herbs like time the space to spill freely over the edges. Beside them, pansies bloom in purple and gold, adding bursts of color to the muted metal. There's no attempt to hide its age, no coat of paint to mask its past. And that's what makes it beautiful. Using a wheelbarrow as a planter is not just about charm, it's deeply practical. Its depth provides generous room for roots to stretch, and the mobility, even if a little stiff with rust, means you can reposition your garden as the seasons shift. Move it to shade, to sun, to shelter. It becomes a garden that travels with you. If you ever create one yourself, don't forget drainage. Drill a few holes at the bottom, or layer gravel beneath the soil. It's a small step that will keep your plants thriving through changing weather. What stands out here isn't just the flowers. It's the thought. The time someone spent filling this forgotten vessel with soil, the care in choosing plants that would complement, not cover, its story. Because that's what this garden is, a story. One of patience, of reuse, of quiet joy. And in a world that's always racing forward, sometimes the most powerful beauty comes from things that have been around for a while. Still standing, still useful, still full of life. Five, chicken feeder and wagon planters. Not every garden begins with a blueprint. Sometimes it begins with a memory, an old wagon, once pulled down dusty driveways or across childhood fields, now finding its place among the herbs and sunlight. In this peaceful corner of the garden, a vintage red wagon becomes more than a keepsake. It becomes a container of life, holding lavender, mint, thyme, oregano, and more. Labeled gently with small garden tags, each plant stands with pride, its leaves glowing in the soft, golden light of evening. The old metal shows signs of age, but it doesn't compete with the plants. It complements them, offering contrast to their lushness. Nearby, a hanging chicken feeder has been transformed, suspended from a shepherd's hook and overflowing with trailing greenery. It softens the metal frame, turning something once utilitarian into something beautifully alive. This kind of garden isn't about precision. It's about personality. Every piece here tells a story. The pitted wheels, the chipped paint, the way the herbs lean into the sun without needing to prove anything. It's quiet, humble, and refreshingly unpolished. And yet, it's also smart. Wagons like these offer a mobile garden bed. You can wheel them into the sun during cooler months, and back into the shade when the heat rises. The shallow base is ideal for herbs, which don't require deep roots but do thrive in good drainage. Add gravel beneath the soil and they'll flourish season after season. The chicken feeder, too, is surprisingly functional. It holds weight, lets water pass through, and becomes an unexpected centerpiece when paired with the right plants. All it takes is imagination, and perhaps a little courage to look at something old and see possibility. This garden doesn't shout. It doesn't try too hard. It simply exists, in all its charm and character, reminding us that beauty isn't about perfection. It's about intention, about knowing that with a bit of soil and sunlight, even the most unlikely objects can bloom. 6. Kitchen garden with colanders and sifters. Out here, on a simple wooden table under an open sky, something wonderful is growing. Not just plants, but possibility. These aren't your typical planters. They're colanders, saucepans, and sifters. Once tools of the kitchen, now vessels of new life. What once strained pasta now holds baby greens. What once stirred soup now cradles tender lettuce leaves swaying gently in the breeze. The idea is refreshingly simple. Use what you already have. The holes in the colanders, built-in drainage, the worn enamel, it adds character. Every scratch and chip tells a story of use, of meals cooked, hands busy, laughter shared. Now, those same pieces help grow something just as nourishing. From a practical perspective, these containers are perfect for shallow-rooted herbs and salad greens. Basil, arugula, microgreens, plants that thrive in smaller spaces and grow quickly. A sunny windowsill, a patio table, even a balcony can become a tiny farm. There's also ease here. These lightweight containers can be moved throughout the day, following the sun or avoiding too much heat. And when harvest time comes, all you need is a pair of scissors and a salad bowl. But more than that, this setup makes gardening feel personal. It feels creative. It invites experimentation. There's no pressure to get it right the first time, only the gentle encouragement to begin. Look at the straw hat in the background, the floral gloves, the scatter of tools that says, "I was here earlier, tending this, and I'll be back again soon." That's the heart of a kitchen garden. It's not just about what you grow, but how you feel while growing it. And maybe, just maybe, the joy isn't only in the harvest, but in the quiet realization that you've turned something ordinary into something meaningful. Seven, Bundt pans, turkey roasters, and enamel bowls. Tucked on a weathered wooden shelf, just beneath the midday sun, an old enamel bowl catches the light. Its rim chipped, its surface dappled with stories. But instead of soup or stew, it holds something far more vibrant now: strawberries. Real ones, ripening red against a bed of deep green. There's a softness to this scene, not because it's perfect, but because it doesn't need to be. These bowls weren't made for gardening, and yet, here they are, lined neatly on the shelf, transformed into containers of new life. The edges are rusted in places, the enamel worn thin with age. But nothing about them feels tired. In fact, they've never looked more alive. The strawberries thrive in these humble vessels. Their roots don't ask for much, just good drainage, rich soil, and the patience of the gardener. The shallow depth of the bowls suits them well. They drink in the sun, push out blossoms, and slowly, quietly, turn green into red. Bees drift in and out of the frame, lured by the scent of flowers. One lands for just a moment on a leaf, then moves on. And in the background, a forgotten metal pan leans against the wall, its circular imprint stained like a memory. This kind of gardening doesn't require acres of space or designer pots. It asks for attention, for appreciation, for the willingness to say, "This is enough." You see, there's something deeply healing about growing food in something that once served you in a different way. A bowl that once brought warmth to your table now brings sweetness to your harvest. And maybe that's the quiet truth at the heart of this entire showcase. You don't need perfect tools. Just a little imagination, a patch of sunlight, and the belief that even the simplest things, when loved and repurposed, can grow into something delicious. If this video meant something to you, please know that subscribing means the world to me. You're not just supporting content, you're supporting a dream that keeps my family going. Thank you, truly.